singing shows unless this guy's going to be there.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
If John's there, I'm in. All right, Cease, I got a Broncos trade idea I want to share with you.
Okay.
Saw it on Athlon Sports, and it's an article there about a trade proposal because we know that the Broncos, they need a running back, right? You just talked earlier about Ashton Jeanty. We'll revisit that later on in the show. Amarian Hampton's been lined up in basically every single mock draft that there has been for the Broncos at 20. I personally love Travion Henderson, although, I don't know, the closer and closer we're going to get to this, I might have myself talked into picking him at 20 by the time we get to next Thursday's first round. But if they get to 20 and Jeanty's gone, Hampton's gone, and then maybe they also believe that that's too early for a Travion Henderson. And then when you get to 51, you're like, damn, Travion Henderson was already picked. What are we going to do here? Well, the suggestion from Athlon Sports is to go get a guy via a trade. And the cost won't be much. I believe you like the name. I like the name Kenneth Walker. And the idea was to trade a 5th-round pick to the Seahawks and get Kenneth Walker back. Feel good, though, at least in my opinion. Feel like we want to trade against the Seahawks just for sanity purposes.
Right.
Walker is in the last year of his deal, so it'd be a one and done, or maybe he proves himself and gets a little deal. I don't know that I'd be willing to pay a bunch for a running back there, but if you drafted a guy in this draft and it for Kenneth Walker and whatever the name was, you might not have to. But he's in the last year of his deal, coming off of a 573-yard season, add 46 catches for 299 yards. Only played in 11 games, so that's also a bit of a red flag with the injuries. But Bo Lowry, there we go, hit our quota for the day, is over there working miracles with players' bodies. And by the way, Cease, as you know, he had to split time with Zach Charbonnet there in Seattle.
Yeah.
So missed 6 games and split time and still had more rushing yards than any Denver running back and more receiving yards than any Denver tight end last year.
Yeah, and guy can catch passes, guy that runs with some power, veteran experienced player, and in a Sean Payton system, not only do you have the power of Bo Lowry, which is amazing, but you have the power of Sean Payton splitting time with you. So it's Kenneth Walker and a rookie. Kenneth Walker and Travion Henderson.
Dude, we talking
here? Pretty good.
Right.
Pretty good, because Travion Henderson, the rookie from Ohio State, is like Jamal Charles. Kenneth Walker is like, well, Kenneth Walker, but he's got power, and he's got speed, and he's got receiving ability. So when either one of those backs would be on the field, you'd have to wonder who's getting the ball, what's going on. You wouldn't know. Walker, and you don't get Travion Henderson, let's say you get Brashard Smith in the 3rd round, in the 4th round, something like that. Like, then now you're cooking with gas. Hell, Kenneth Walker with Blake Watson. I understand that they will add a running back or 2 in this draft. But Kenneth Walker would be a really good answer on what could be a really good price tag, because if he does enough, let's say he has 700 yards with Sean Payton, but then he has 500 yards receiving with the Denver Broncos, over 1,200 all-purpose yards, he's going to want a little money, but he's not going to want a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to extend his career, maybe get another contract. And how do you do that? You work in a Sean Payton system where you're splitting the load, where you're splitting the workload, and I think that'd be good for a guy like Kenneth Walker, who last year had a 4-game stay on injured reserve, in addition to missing a couple more, had an ankle injury. So we're not talking about like Achilles, like your buddy playing basketball, or any sort of like shredding of a knee, something like that. We also would get Richie Carney's favorite player, because he's a Michigan State guy.
Oh, Richie be fired up about that.
Oh yeah, he'd Sparty all day.
Yeah, he's got one of those Sparty license plate covers. I always see it out there in his car. Think about keying it or something. It's a Big Ten rivalry.
We don't mess with people's cars.
Oh, that's right.
That's a big don't be that guy.
My bad,
right.
yeah. So, yeah, I saw it, and I liked it. And then I thought about this. All right, a 5th rounder. You're a draft guy, right? George Payton wants to have as many picks as he can in every single draft.
One problem.
What? They don't have a 5th?
You have 3 sixths, so it'd have to be one of those, a combination.
My idea here is going to solve that problem for you. Take the draft pick off the board. How about we give you a 5th-round player and a running back?
Okay.
Audric Estime back for Kenneth Walker, and then maybe you do have to throw in one of those 6.
Okay. Well, what's interesting to note with Seattle,
or maybe it's like a next year's 7th.
Seattle has Clint Kubiak as their OC.
Yeah.
He's going to use a fullback.
Ooh.
Your favorite position.
Oh, yeah. Are you telling me we can get Michael Burton out of here?
Well, he's a free agent right now. You'll be shocked to know nobody signed him. And then Rick Dennison. Man, that's all you got to be is in that good old boy network, because you're gonna have a job forever.
If a Kubiak has a job, Rico has a job.
Rico up in Seattle as their run game coordinator. So, all right, could you possibly send one of your backs, like an Audric Estime, over there? Sure, to work with a fullback. Could you possibly send, I don't think they'd want to get rid of him, but like a Nate Adkins or something, where all of a sudden you are, thinking of, hey, here's another player to add into the mix, which leads me back to the Ashton Jeanty conversation. Because Richie Carney was losing his mind about, like, you'll have to trade to the picks and trade the picks. What if you just traded a player in 20 to move up to, 5 with Jacksonville? 5 with Jacksonville. I'll get you to 5 without giving up more than 20. Do you know how I do that?
Trade Cortland Sutton?
No. Well, Sutton's not going to get you there.
Thought you were finally
I have a way to get you to 5 without 5 and 20 to get up to number 5 overall with Jacksonville. Do you know what it is?
No, who's the player?
Nick Benito.
Oh, dude, I'm out.
You're out?
I can't do that.
You're out.
I can't do that.
Jonah Ellis in the wings. D'Andrea Tillman in the wings. Von Miller as a free agent.
Von Miller can't play.
I didn't say he couldn't play, but he'd also be your 4th guy. He'd be your 5th guy. You're going to draft an edge rusher? Whoa, stink. Stinking all personal there.
I don't know. I mean, they're just talking crap about Von.
Everyone worried about, you got to give up all these picks, which, are they important or not? Are they important or not? And now, to me, I'm Mr. Draft, like, yeah, they're important, and I'm saying, F them picks. Give them up. Go get Ashton Jeanty, but I can get you there without him. You give up a Nick Benito. Is that the trade we're talking about? And why can't you? You're going to have to pay the dude $1 zillion. I've looked at the math. It's $1 zillion. Okay?
You get what you pay for.
And have we seen the best of blank? Have we seen the best of Nick Benito?
No. I think he can be this guy for 3 or 4 more years.
But is he going to be better? Is he going to have like a 17-sack season?
No. But he can be a 10 to 14 sack guy for the next 4 years.
And Jonah Ellis can't do that?
I don't think so.
Guy was ahead of Nick Benito when he came out of college in terms of, NFL translatable skill.
I've seen it with Nick Benito.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling it to me to Jonah Ellis.
Okay, so if I say Jonah Ellis gets a promotion, we draft a pass rusher because you didn't give up any picks. You gave up Nick Benito in 20, and you got 5, and you got Ashton Jeanty. Is this all about Bo Nix or not? Y'all got to make a decision out here. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Carney. I'm talking about Spivak, Kev. You got to make a decision.
What are the Denver Broncos without 13.5 sacks and 2 defensive touchdowns?
7 of them came when you were up by 10 or more.
Okay.
Jonah Ellis can't do that?
I don't know. But
Jonah Ellis had 5 sacks last year.
I don't think anybody can say for sure that Jonah Ellis can replace Nick Benito. Maybe he starts to show some of that this year. Did he show great signs? Absolutely. The pick was outstanding. But I watched a guy get 13.5 sacks and have 2 defensive touchdowns where a player hadn't done that in a handful of years.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to just punt on
now,
that player.
the INTs and stuff, maybe Jonah doesn't get those. So you've got me on that. But Tribe, chime in, 303-713-1043, because I got to know, man. Everyone's talking about all these precious picks. You got to save these picks. You need playmakers. You can get one. The Kenneth Walker one, that's interesting. And you trade a 5th that you don't have. You trade a 6th, whatever. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. What's more interesting is, would you give up Nick Benito and 20 to move up to 5? I'm not talking about 8. I'm not talking about 9. I'm talking about 5.
It's a no for me, but I want to know what the Tribe says as well. Broncos Country, hit us up. 303-713-1043.